Good afternoon, good afternoon. You're in the Don't Give an Hour. And today I have Miss Lillian Davis with me. And she's going to talk about hidden disabilities. Now, you can see you can see someone who walks or who talks in a wheelchair. But did you know that there are disabilities that you can't see? And because people can't see them, they're sometimes looked at as being lazy or as not having a good work ethic. And the last one was on marriage penalty, and this time we want to highlight the hidden disabilities and how we should look and understand what people go through because we don't know what people are going through in a lifetime. They be going through a struggle. They be going through a stress situation that may cause them to act with that may cause them to act with that cause them to act in a certain manner. So, Miss Lillian Davis.
Hi, it's good to be here. I I'm very excited about this program. Most people don't even realize that I have a disability just based off the initial impression that I present myself. So this is a good thing to do.
There's the misconception that all people with disabilities are talk slow, that they have something wrong with them, that they can't think.
Yes.
I want to say, because because you're intelligent, and people think you're intelligent, people and want to say and talk about that.
Well, I didn't find out until after school. After like elementary school and middle school, I was always struggling to complete my work and do things and stay on task, but somehow I managed to always be on principal's list, always get A's and B's. I graduated high school in the top 10% of my class. And I continued that on through college. I did struggle more in college, and that's when I got diagnosed with um, bipolar disorder. And it was a long, hard struggle for me to get the right medications, the right doctors, the right treatment plan. But I did finally graduate college at Georgia State University. Go Panthers! And I graduated in 2006 with a general art degree. I concentrated mainly in graphic design. And then the recession hit and I wasn't able to get a job as a graphic designer because most people were just trying to make it, so no one really was concerned about artwork. And then I went to school and I became a medical assistant, but the market was overly saturated, so again I didn't get that job either. But a lot, and then I found out the reason why I was having trouble getting the information and the anxiety is because I have dyslexia, dysgraphia, as well as ADHD, and and some other arthritis issues. But you know, just the conversations that I have with most people, they don't really notice it that much unless I'm, in under a lot of stress and things of that nature. But it's mainly people that are close to me that can tell when I'm not having a good day.
Okay. And I talked about this, but what are some misconceptions that you have faced in your lifetime?
Well, like I mentioned before, I always, excelled academically. As you can see, I'm very well spoken. I can, very logical minded. I'm very creative. I do a lot of different things. Excuse me. And, my mom always says I'm just like my dad. And my dad was just, whatever he took on, he can do it without a whole lot of hesitation. He just mastered it right away. And that's something that I guess is a natural ability of mine as well. And so a lot of people, when they see me struggling with certain topics, they be like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you having this issue? You got everything else. Why don't you get this?" And and as I mentioned before, I have some physical disabilities, including asthma, that um, now requires me to have a disability sticker to park in the places closer to the door. And one time I was going to the local grocery store, and there was an older gentleman who saw me trying to get his parking space. Well, when he looked and saw that I was a young person, he decided that he didn't want me to have that parking space. So he got out of his car, pretended to go back into the store, and just sat there and waited for me to drive around the parking lot. And then as soon as I left, I saw he got back in his car and got out of the parking space. And I run into that a lot because a lot of people don't think that people that are about my age or younger have issues like that. And they think it's only something that older people have, or you have to look a certain way and act a certain way to be proven that you're disabled. And that's really not fair because, as you mentioned before, nobody really knows what you're going through. And we should just give each other the benefit of the doubt because sometimes, you know, I could be struggling with something, but the fact of the matter is, I try to put on my best foot forward and I try to smile. And I find that what really helped me on my really, really bad depressive times, it's just a simple smile from a stranger, a simple acknowledgement that I even exist, just lifted my spirits up that day. And so I try to do that myself by every time I see somebody, the old phrase that goes, if you see somebody without a smile, turn their frown upside down by giving them yours. So I try to do that myself. And I noticed that after, they might not say thank you or they might not respond back, but you can definitely tell that it made a difference to them because you can see their face light up and be like, oh, I'm somebody recognized me, somebody spoke to me. And sometimes that makes all the difference in the world. And you just never know.
Because I feel the same thing because as you know, on the job where I worked at, I was able to do things, to carry things and things like that. And because of that, they noticed I walked with a limp. But
Hmm.
they were kind of insensitive to me when I
Right.
couldn't do anything. Because I had strokes when I was 13. And like you, I have and like you, I have overcame those obstacles. But there are times when my mind can't can't conceive certain concepts. So therefore, my supervisors and people, they looked at me and they say, "You can't do that. What wrong with you?" And a lot of times I got rolled up. A lot of times I was on probation because of that. Now I was working at a place that was supposed to people to people recognize people like me, but I but I made but I worked for 5 years. I made it through. So sometimes even people with disabilities are insensitive too. Even
Right.
though they know that even though they know that you go through this stuff, even though they go through the same things, a lot of times we can get caught up in our own issues
Mm-hmm.
and our own problems so much until we forget about until we forget about until we forget about other person. Yeah. So and what changes do you need? And what changes need to be changed to include people with hidden disabilities? With hidden disabilities.
Well, I find that, like I mentioned before, sometimes it just takes a little more patience, a little bit more kindness, less judgment on our parts, because, as the term says, hidden disabilities. You won't be able to recognize them right away unless you know what you're looking for. And even then, you don't know for sure. And so that's something I struggle with, especially when I'm out and about, like when I go to grocery stores or especially what gets me is when I'm trying to figure out a menu, like even at McDonald's. Everybody knows the McDonald's menu. I mean, it's the same stuff except for a few things that may change. But sometimes, just looking at all the words and the pictures, it can throw me off. And I know what I want, but I'm trying to struggle with getting the words out, and then I get anxiety, and it's just like goes completely crazy sometimes. And so I have to take a step back and I have to remind myself, okay, breathe. And then I just tell the person that's on the other end, give me just a moment. I need to make up my mind. And most of the time when you tell them that, they're pretty um receptive to it, because they know people change their minds all the time in that business, because I used to do that. And other times people have a little attitude, but when I get up to the window, then, like I said, I smile because I know it's a very stressful job, and I greet them, and try to be very nice to them and show that I'm not, your typical customer. And I usually find that when you be nice to other people, they tend to be nice back to you. And that kind of reminds me something my grandmother used to tell me all the time growing up. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And, that basically means that just it doesn't hurt you to say hello. It doesn't hurt you to smile. It doesn't hurt you to say, "How are you?" It's not going to take any more time out of your day. And sometimes, like I was telling other people, if you're nervous about, social anxiety or whatever, sometimes the best conversations start with the simple word of hello. And next thing you know, you might have a best friend that you never would have met, and you never would have, thought that y'all could get along and relate. And, sometimes you have very meaningful conversations with people you've never even met before. And sometimes it's just a conversation, and sometimes it turns into more, and you never know. And so I think that most people just need to take the time to just breathe, relax, and take stock of their life, because we just went through the worst 18 months most people have ever experienced in their lives. And, you know, and they had a chance to actually sit down, be quiet, and be with themselves and their family, and reevaluate their life. And I had to do that in 2016, when I realized that the way my life was going was not conducive to my mental health, my physical health, or anything. As a matter of fact, I was working at an extremely high stressful job. And, I kept going out on short term disability, kept getting sick leave and things of that nature. And eventually one day I was working late and my manager was there. He was trying to get me fired because he was putting so much pressure on me, trying to make me either quit or get fired. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. If I'm going to leave someplace, it's going to be on my own terms. And that night, when I realized he was just going to sit there and watch me struggle to put together these projects by myself, and he was not going to help, it was tax day, April 15th, 2016. And I was like, you know what? I'm going home. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna clock out and go. He said, well, aren't you gonna count down your drawer? You're a manager, you can do it. He said, what about these projects? You're a manager, you can do it. And, and I just clocked out, got my stuff, and went home. And on the way home, I called my mom and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to go to the hospital tomorrow. Will you drive me? So she drove me to the mental hospital the next day for an evaluation. And I thought I was just like, look, they're going to have to take me in because I was just like at my wits' end. I ain't know up from down, in and out. I was just out of it mentally. Like my brain had completely checked out. But my mom was like, aren't you going to call your manager? You got to work tomorrow. I was like, no, he's a big boy. He can handle this. That's why they made him a manager. And I said, this is more important. My health is more important than that job. That job will always be there. They will find somebody else to take my position, to handle all the work. They might not do it exactly the same as I did, but they will find somebody else. I need to take care of me. So I went on ahead, went through my evaluation. They said they agreed that I do need some treatment, but I wasn't worse. I wasn't bad enough to actually justify being inpatient. So they gave me partial outpatient. Um, and I end up waiting until after I got everything set up and got me something to eat and calmed my brain and calmed my nerves. And then I called my manager knowing that he wasn't going to bother to open to answer the phone or anything because I had told him the night before I wasn't going to come to work because I just wasn't feeling well. And I guess he thought, you know, he didn't really think too much of it and didn't try to get my shift covered. So when I did call him, he didn't answer the phone, which I kind of expected. I called him, left a voicemail, sent him a text message, covered all my bases. And then when he finally got back in contact with me, the store hadn't been open at all that day, and it was a Saturday, which means that's the busy day. And people were lined up in the entire parking lot, I was told, looking for me because they know I was on time. I was always there. And I can get you in and out, no problem. And they even though there were stores closer to them, there were more staff, and they would not go. They just sat there and waited and called so many people that finally they had to he came down there and the store was supposed to close at 6. He didn't get there till 4 o'clock. And he had to handle all those projects, all those customers by himself. And then he called me to try to get me to come down there. And I was like, nope, you can't call me anymore. I've already put in my paperwork for short term disability. So we can't even have a conversation after this. But did that stop him from calling me? No. Even when I was in my classes, he still kept calling me. He still kept trying to get me to do things like, where is this? Who is that? And eventually, because at first I was answering to tell him to stop calling me. But then the counselor, the head counselor, was like, give me your manager's number. I'm finna take care of this because he needs to stop calling you. What he's doing is illegal. And so after that, I never heard back from him again. I finished my treatment. I started getting, um, I got a better doctor. He got me the right medicines. That's when I started finding out that I had those underlying disabilities of ADHD and dyslexia and dysgraphia because he said I always had them. The problem was that my bipolar was on top of it, suppressing all that other stuff. And so once the bipolar got better, everything else came to the surface. So then I had to deal with those things. So now I have a new therapist who specializes in that, all of my mental disorders. So it's been very positive. I just started seeing her probably about a couple of months ago. She does behavior therapy, which is something new for me. And I'm actually liking it. It's helping me to control the anxiety that comes along with, a lot of these brain disorders because, it's more of the anxiety that gets to me than it is the actual disorder. And me just trying to, be normal or be acceptable to other people is what makes it a little more challenging for me. But it's not as hard these days. I don't have to struggle so much because I got new tools of how to deal with those different issues that come up.
When I think about Simone Biles, I
Mhm.
think about her withdrawing from the competition for her mental health,
Yes. Mental and physical.
mental and physical. You see, sometimes people can see people who are capable, who are strong, people who have together, and they can think that they have no problem.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, everybody has an issue in their lives.
Mhm.
It may be small, it may be great, may be minuscule, but you and I and everybody got something that they're dealing with.
Yes.
And it's time for us to realize that on jobs, out there in the world, it's time for us to realize that.
Mhm. And that's something I'm gonna make a big part of my business. I am currently going through the process of having a beauty brand business, selling my own natural and organic line of beauty products marketed primarily to people who have, excuse me, disabilities or people taking care, of people with disabilities, because as we not always know in the disability community, we're a untapped market. And there's just so many of us. There's so many different types of disabilities. Whether you see them or, like we're discussing now, you don't. And we all should be included in that. And, and not just marketing in the commercial world, but when I get my employees at my business going, I'm gonna demand that everybody take some mental health days. You know, every throughout the year you're going to have to take some mental health days, you're going to have to take some personal time. You don't have to save it up, for the end of the year. And I'm also just, once I build my clientele up at my salon, I'm gonna just have to tell people, hey, at a certain time of the year we're going to shut down for a few weeks, give everybody a vacation. You can still buy the products online. You can still go to other stores and buy the products, but the salon is going to shut down because everybody deserves a break. Everybody deserves to just have time off, consistent time off, consistent wages that you can live off of, health care, All these things that are so prominent right now are just should be basic human rights. So there should be we shouldn't be in this position because everybody needs these things. And as you see with this pandemic, it just took everything that was lying under the surface and pushed it to the forefront. So now people are starting to see, oh, mental health is real. It's not just, oh, he's just having a sad day. Oh, they just stressed out, or, oh, they're just hungry. And, oh, what I really also don't like is when people say, throw things, terms around like mental disorders around like it's a joke, especially say, oh, the weather's bipolar. Oh, this is bipolar, because that's really insulting because it's more than just, your personality switching back and forth. It's a lot of other things, and not everybody's bipolar disorder or mental illness is the same. And by you just being real flippant and, making jokes of it, it actually hurts people. And, because sometimes I hear that, and I've actually said something to somebody, and they were in the medical field, excuse me, and they said that, and I was like, I have bipolar disorder. That's not funny. It's not funny at all. You don't know how bad it is. When your own brain is your worst enemy, you live with your brain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it can flip on you and make you think things that are real aren't real, and all kinds of crazy stuff going on in your head, and you can't escape it. Some situations you can physically remove yourself from, but you can't escape your brain. You can't escape your thoughts. It's with you all the time. And by somebody making jokes about it, it's very hurtful and very demeaning. And I wish people would not do that because it just doesn't it's not fair to people who are struggling with it themselves personally or caring for somebody who who are struggling with those issues. And you would think people in the medical field would know this, but they don't. And it's even the same when it comes to something simple like perfumes and things that make your body smell good. A lot of people don't realize that people who have breathing issues like asthma can really be affected by strong odors. And I am one of those people. And one time I was somewhere in the hospital. I had an asthma attack. I was on oxygen. I was taking a breathing treatment, and the person that was administering the breathing treatment had so much perfume on, it made it worse. And once I got my breath back, I was like, what is wrong with you? You are a respiratory therapist. You know better. You should not be wearing all this heavy perfume. You are at work. You're not on a date trying to catch somebody. So people just don't think about these things. And sometimes it just takes a little more effort to think about not just what's good for me, but what's good for the next person. And it's like I said earlier in this conversation, sometimes just saying, hey, just being nice, just being considerate makes the world a better place, even if it's just for one person. Because we can't change everybody. We can only change ourselves, and we can only help one person at a time that wants to be helped.
So can you let us know where you are on social media?
Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My business is called Becky B as in boy Good LLC. And so I am right now currently just building my brand awareness, getting out the information that I'm taking in school about what I know about beauty and the a new way of approaching beauty. It's not just making yourself look good on the outside. It's taking what's already on the inside and enhancing it by, you know, like makeup and clothes and hair. These are just external features. The real beauty is on the inside. And I want to be able to highlight that in everybody because everybody has something special and unique and beautiful about their own personality, whether they recognize it or not. And that's what I want to use my brand to make that make that difference in the world and give back to my community. Excuse me. Because in my neighborhood, there's a huge drought of really well um really good salons and beauty products that cater to, natural things. And, there used to be so many salons, so many really good businesses in my up, and this pandemic isn't helping. And I want to be able to revitalize my neighborhood. Maybe not to the way it was when I grew up, but at least give back so that the kids in my neighborhood who think that this life, the way it is all that it is. And the people that did escape this neighborhood, not saying it was a terrible neighborhood, but it's not the best either. They went into the music industry, they went into different celebrity type things, and people only think that's the only way to make it. No, sometimes just staying where you are and making where you are is better is making it too. So I just want to prove to not only myself but also to people in my neighborhood, to just take care of home. And if you take care of home, you're going to be able to take care of the world. So we just have to take little baby steps to get things back on track and just don't give up.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's a great segue. Because on August 9th at 3 o'clock, I'm having a discussion on Zoom about how we can change the landscape of things for people with disabilities, seen and unseen.
Mhm.
Because until we come together as one, to come together as one, we're not going to make a dent in this issue.
Nope.
It's time out for the deaf, for the blind, for the autism, for people in wheelchairs, for people attacking this thing on a on a end on a individual level. We need to come together
Mhm.
as one. And what I'm saying and that's what I'm trying to do. So on August 9th at 3 o'clock, I will just go to my faith page, capital DONT, capital GIV, capital UP, capital THE, capital BOOK. Don't give up the book. The D is capital, the G is capital, the U is capital, the T is capital, and the B is capital. And you want to say, and I will put a link on there for that. And want to say, and now I want to recap what Miss Davis said. Miss Davis said that if we would stop focusing on ourselves and focus on the others and focusing on what others are going through, just stop being selfish. Just stop being selfish. this world be a much better place.
Yep, it really would.
We will stop being selfish. My mama taught me that no man's an island. What that means is nobody made by themselves.
Nope.
Somebody in your life gave some information or gave you a helping hand to help you get to the point where you're at right now.
Yep.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in school, your teachers, they taught information that gave you the knowledge to do what you are now.
Right. Yeah. And then what comes to my mind is, I think it's, oh, I can't think of his name, Booker T. Washington. And this quote has been misinterpreted for many, many years. It's talking about, uh, is what they use to justify segregation. But if you were to actually go back and listen to the entire speech, you will understand that's not what he was talking about. They just highlighted that one line where he said we might be as separate as the individual fingers on a hand, but when we come together, we can strike a mighty blow. What he really meant, at least that's what I got from the whole speech, was that we might be individual people, we might have individual problems and individual issues, and especially in the disability community, it's the array of disabilities, and the struggles we all have are unique to our own person. But if we all get together and we work together, we can make a mighty blow, as he mentioned in his speech. And, we don't have to be separate, individual little islands floating around by ourselves. We can all join together and make a difference. And we shouldn't just give up because, you know, if it's like I mentioned in one of my Instagram posts, if something's worth having, it's worth putting your time and effort to get it. So if it's worth you feeling um accepted, if it's worth you working hard for it to get it, you just do it. If you want the world to be better, you have to start, with yourself and give it out the same way that you want it given back to you.
Yes. And if you have topics, we want to hear from you about how we're doing our podcast. Because this is not for me, not for Lillian's, it's for the world. And we want to bring topics to you that that support you in your life. And this show is called Against All Odds. And this show is to bring to light the issues that people with disabilities face to light. Because a lot of people don't know. They have no clue.
Nope.
They have no clue. But if they got a clue, just like the civil rights, it was not just blacks, it was whites, they all came together. That's how things change for us.
Mm-hmm.
Things not gonna change in a disability world until we all come together as one against this issue, against this struggle. Cause I want to see a day, like Martin Luther King said. I want to see a day when blind, deaf, autism are they are treated with respect. They are treated like they are people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that day. I want to see that day. I may not see it, but I want to. But I want to see that. But I want that day to come to fruition.
Right.
I want to see a day when people with wheelchairs are not looked at as strange because they can walk. Because
Right.
because all people in wheelchairs can walk.
Mhm.
I want to see a day when the mental world is not made fun of. I want to see a day when we all treat people with respect. That's what we want. Respect. That's all we want. We respect and be treated, and we want to be treated like people. And we are. We are people too. We want to be treated people. Just because I stutter, just because I will limp, that does not make me less a person. Just
Nope.
because you can't see Lillian's disability doesn't make her less a person. So let's come together as one. Let's come together as one. And my sponsors are the mission statement of the mission statement of innovation. The innovation is to support and to encourage the participation of people who are blind and visually impaired with spiritual community and to a spiritual community where individuals are encouraged to utilize all their God-given gifts and talents as they journey to a place of wholeness in mind, body, and spirit. And the email address is ivawakening@gmail.com. And that phone number is 678-718-7063. They have a prayer call at 9:30. The number is 777-712-775-7035, and the X code is 783542. My next sponsor is Lisa Parks, Director, Image Com Group, Search Circle, Search Social Content and Local. The email address is www.imagecomgroup.com. And their two numbers are 678-787-9542 or 470-238-9152. My next sponsor is SimTech. We provide titles for cars, tractors, houses, motorcycles in any state. So, thank you, Miss Davis, for
Thank
being on
you.
this. And if you want to see us again, you can go to www.don'tgiveupthemovement.net. That's www.don'tgivupthemovement.net. Click on Against All Odds, and you can see this show called Don't Give Up. You can also click on the podcast button to hear it too. And remember, let's show a little kindness Let's show a little caring. Let's not be so selfish. Let's not be so into ourselves. You just may find a gem, or ruby, or a diamond. You may find somebody who can support you in what you're going through. You may find some various information that can push you to victory. Remember, don't give up on your dreams, hopes, and visions. Remember, you're important. The world needs you. We need you. Your families, your foes need you. Have a great day. Have a great day. Have a great day. That was a good show.
Yeah, it was.
And thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yes. Now I want to say now I have to download it and when I say that then I gotta up then I gotta up to YouTube and when I say and then when I say and then I go on my website and put it on my website.
Okay, yeah, just get me the links. Send me the links, and then I'll put it on my my social media and Facebook and stuff like that.
Well, the links are all in my signature on my email.
Yeah, those don't come through for me.
Okay. I'll make sure I get it to you. Okay. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you. I'm trying to get used to this whole media thing. Eventually I'll be bit time like you.
I'm not big time. I'm not big time. I'm just trying to make a difference, trying to make a dent in this situation.
Yeah,
Like I
me
said,
too.
like I said, it's not about me. It's not about subscribers. It's not about my fame. If I
Hmm.
can say one thing, if I can say one thing to make a difference in this world, yeah, I'm happy.
Me too.
Okay, you have a great day.
All right, you too. Don't be a stranger.
Uh,
I want to meet her now.
okay. I will make that happen. Okay.
Okay. Cause she
Okay.
needs, cause it's a woman thing. Like I said, she need to know. We need to lay eyes on each other.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.